Hey everyone, yes, I'm continuing reviewing a block of films that were recently released by Xenon Pictures on HD VOD, and we're continuing today with a look at those films with a review of Blackenstein. Yes, Blackenstein, brought to us by director William A. Levy, who would go on later on to direct Monaco Forever with a Jean-Claude Van Damme in one of his first films. But here in Blackenstein, we get the story of Winifred Walker, who has her man, Eddie Turner, has come back from Vietnam, but he's come back with his arms and legs blown off, and so he's a quadriplegic, and she's looking for a way to get Eddie back on his feet, literally and metaphorically. And so she enlists the help of Dr. Stein and Dr. Stein's new method of surgery to help attach body parts to those parts that are missing on other individuals. Well, when Stein's assistant falls for Winifred, Winifred does not return the feelings. The assistant takes matters into his own hands and ends up sabotaging the experiment, turning Mr. Eddie Turner into an individual that was more like Frankenstein, who went around killing people in a murderous rage. Blackenstein, out of the batch of films we're going to be reviewing, is the weakest. This film was really trying to cash in on the popularity of Blackula. While that one was a success, they thought, hey, we can get a African-American-led horror movie in the form of Frankenstein, but they did it on a very limited budget, and it felt like they were just trying to throw this together to strike while the iron's hot, rather than actually putting some thought into it. And that's unfortunate, because there are some very interesting things in this film. Namely, the props that they use are actually from the original Frankenstein monster film, the original Frankenstein film. And I found that fascinating. I'm watching the film and I'm going, holy crap, I recognize those props. So that is very cool. Unfortunately, the props are just in this empty room that's supposed to be Dr. Stein's laboratory, which definitely isn't. So that made it rough. Also, for a film of the genre that it belongs in, it is actually kind of weak in the elements that you're accustomed to for a film in the blaxploitation genre. In fact, even when Eddie Turner is being put down by an orderly who's taking care of him while he's in the hospital, it's not through race, it's the fact that the orderly is jealous of Eddie Turner for being able to go overseas and serve when he couldn't. So I thought that was an interesting angle. It almost felt like they were trying to not be so controversial, but at the same time be that way. I mean, Blackenstein later on is going around killing a lot of people. Eddie Turner, in his rage, the makeup was a little rough as well. They did do some good creative lighting things with shadows in that, so you never quite get the full look of Eddie Turner as basically a Stein monster, for lack of a better term. There are some cool camera shots too. One scene in particular I really enjoyed was one where our Eddie Turner, in his rage, ends up grabbing a girl and her sunglasses fall, and we see the vision through the sunglasses as he drags her away to kill her. And it's an interesting shot. It's a great shot, and there's a number of those shots as well in here. What's also a plus for Blackenstein, even though it's very rough in most of the filmmaking elements, is Ivory Stone's portrayal of Winifred Walker, Dr. Winifred Walker. I enjoyed her performance very much. She played off well with the John Hart character who played Dr. Stein. John Hart, who normally is associated with westerns, is in this monster film. And I really enjoyed their performances, but especially Ivory Stone. This, I think, was the only film she did, unfortunately. But I thought she was great, especially for the type of film this was, being a low-budget indie film, basically. I thought her performance was great in here. I really enjoyed it. I thought there was a lot of talent involved. So I bought into her character. I didn't want something bad to happen to her character, which was a bit unexpected considering the rest of this film was pretty weak in most aspects. So Blackenstein definitely is an evidence of a studio just trying to strike while the iron's hot. There is gore in here, especially later on, and a not needed but gratuitous sex scene in here as well, a nudity scene too. So there is some of those elements still in here, but still, out of the block of films, it is the weakest one, and it's one that I can't quite recommend unless you're a completionist or if you're just curious about it, Or if you want to see the performance of Ivory Stone, then you should check out Blackenstein. Otherwise, I just can't recommend it because it is a rough watch. And that'll about do it for us here tonight. Thank you so much for listening to me ramble a bit about Blackenstein. If you have seen this film, please leave your constructive comments down below. Love to hear your thoughts on it. If you haven't subscribed, please do so. I appreciate your support. And until next time, remember, keep that ticket stub.